Hello and welcome to the Learn PowerShell channel and this introduction video for PowerShell. This is a re-recording, so if you've already watched this and you notice that the thumbnail changed and you're wondering why, or you're wondering why this looks different from the next several videos in this series, I'll explain that right now. In this first introduction that I had done, I don't think I addressed a few key things on why I should be introducing PowerShell. Firstly, why is I think it's very important for anybody, especially in working in IT in any Windows environment, to know PowerShell because it is the easiest and most accessible scripting language across all channels because it is natively installed in Windows 7, 8, 10, and also going forward in everything that exists. It is now cross-platform, meaning that you can use it in Linux and on Mac without any interruptions in using one of the core versions. I think we're on core 7.2 at the release of this video. I don't have core installed on this machine. This is a fairly new image on my personal computer, so I haven't gotten everything reinstalled. But that is why. That is the big why on why we should be doing it, because it's native and everything that Microsoft does has some type of PowerShell interaction. You can normally get with API access or in some of the cloud applications, or just natively interact with things that exist on your computer, like get service to see the running services on your machine. You can do get process to see the running processes on your machine. You can just get a list of whatever's in a directory if you want. So you can do all sorts of things. You can move files, you can make files, you can edit files all through here. And anything you've done in the command prompt, if you're familiar, if you're an old school technician like myself, you can do in PowerShell. There's probably a new, much more improved commandlet for it than existed in the command prompt. So if you're familiar with ping, and as we all know, the Google DNS, that's pretty much what you get back. Not a whole lot. It's decent to use. In PowerShell, you can do test connection and get quite a bit more information back, and use this to then go do something else. So there's a lot of information that PowerShell has that increases on previous commands to do. Things like directory exists still, ls, all these commands that you're probably familiar with if you have used Unix, if you've used command prompt, they exist. Those translations are written in PowerShell for you. So there's really no reason to not use PowerShell if you're using Windows or you're an IT primarily in a Windows environment. This will truly open up automation for you in ways that you could not before, with batch files and trying to administer things cross-network or within the environment without getting up and walking over to someone's computer. PowerShell has remoting functionality, and you can do anything you would need to do at their computer from your own, with some few minor tweaks, which I probably won't cover in these videos simply because I don't want to open up any environment to security risks, because I probably won't go too in depth on how to make your environment as secure as possible, because I think those are probably security related questions and maybe not teaching about PowerShell. And I don't want you to in any way, shape, or form hold me liable for making your environment less secure. So please go out and look up the documentation for these things. It exists almost everywhere. You can find hundreds of things on it. I've given them to organizations. I've helped out plenty of people in this path. So always go look for the documentation. I will link some of that in the description for really good places to get started on just PowerShell in general, and you can use those resources to then find the more advanced items as well. So with that, let's just look at kind of what we have in front of us. So while I am running PowerShell, which you can see by doing ps version table, I can see that I'm running PowerShell version 5.1. Again, this is a new desktop, not using core. I love PowerShell 7.2. I just have not installed it yet on this machine. But this is VS Code, what we're looking at. Why VS Code? Because VS Code is my favorite text editor. Obviously, that is up for a massive amount of debate, especially depending on what language you're using. But this is my favorite editor to use. I can just close it out and reopen it and keep going. I can shut down my computer, not have to worry about saving any of this, come back in here, and it's going to be exactly where I left it. I also like the editing and all the extensions that exist, like the settings that I can just copy over from machine to machine just by linking it to my GitHub, or all of the extensions that exist, like the colorizer or things just to make life better and easier. Quality of life is really what we're going for here by using VS Code with PowerShell, and I promise the more you use it, the more quality of life features you will understand and enable, and really learn to leverage that you had no idea that you even needed if you were just using PowerShell. So another reason that I like using VS Code is the snippets. So you can just start typing anything, and if it exists like function does, you can just click on that and it will automatically input the start of that code for you. We can look at all three of these. And here you go. So there are three different functions depending on your level of knowledge. Most people will actually start here at this inline function by just declaring random variables. Obviously, I will cover all these things in videos later, but you can just input these things this way for each. And if I had clicked on the snippet right here, it'll automatically put that in for you, and you can see it. So these things exist for just about everything, all these snippets. If you are familiar with the command pane in PowerShell that is on the right side, that exists here too. It is just this command explorer. On the left side, there's a little PowerShell button, and you can come in here and you can click on the question mark for get help if it exists for that command, and it does not for whatever I just clicked on. Actually, it took me to the website, so you can't see this, so let me change my view. So here's the website for the question mark that I clicked on for add member. This is awesome. I do cover this in a later video, but I will show you here as well. You can just do get help, let's say get member like I just did, and online, and it will take you to the web page that I just had up. And this exists for a lot of commands, especially the built-in or pre-built commandlets that exist in PowerShell already. There's lots that exist for like Active Directory, for Azure. Anything Microsoft related usually has an online help document that shows you examples and awesome ways to use it, and it walks you through the syntax, everything that you're going to need. So I do cover this in a later video, but this is great. Not VS Code related, but it is PowerShell. So with that, we can kind of really do whatever we need to do here. Things that you could write with batch files, things that you just want to be able to do in Windows, you can do. You can import Excel files, you can import Word files, you can edit things in here, you can write HTML in PowerShell, you can write Java, you can write Python even if you wanted to, and all sorts of things that you can do in PowerShell that it will automatically do for you in these other places. It just is really awesome and really lightweight to do. So, excuse me. So with that, I'm gonna kind of just pull up some really random things really quick, just to show you a little bit. So let me switch over here and pull up. All right. So here is the PowerShell subreddit on Reddit, and there's always this, what have you done with PowerShell this month? There's lots of things here. There's always questions people are having, issues people are having, and you can come in here, read them, get ideas, or figure out whatever things you have going on with yourself. Come here and search things for it. Sometimes I will come in here just to see what awesome things people are doing and see if I can get inspired to write something similar or something on my own that maybe expands on what they've started. People put a lot of things in here that you would probably never think of. I've seen everything from someone automatically updating their Spotify playlist to actual system administrator things that just blow your mind. One of my favorite creators to pay attention to is Evotech, who makes really awesome full-blown tools for system administration. He is incredible. Sorry, he, she, I don't know. Never actually met the person or talked to them, so I would not know. And but the stuff that Evotech puts out is just incredible. Like being able to get full-blown system reports that are automatically dumped into Microsoft Word with pretty tables and pretty indexes and table of contents without even having a Microsoft Word license. So definitely one of my favorite people to watch and see what they have coming out with. Also, there's plenty of other things that I'll put in the description, but I do think that if you are a system administrator, if you are a help desk engineer, if you are a service desk engineer, if you are an IT analyst of any type, PowerShell is incredibly useful because it is an object-oriented language and you can really navigate, get data analytics quickly. You can administer your environment quickly. You can run reports on things and turn those reports over very quickly to people that need them with very little work. I probably spend 12 hours of my week designing things in PowerShell, maybe an hour running reports for people, things they need, and people think that it takes me all 40 hours to do anything that done. And I spend a lot of time just doing things like this, training people that I work with, training people that I have worked with previously or that I intend to work with on what PowerShell is capable of, which is really how this channel was born. A lot of people that I worked with kind of lost the ability to see some of the things that I was training on, so I really wanted to be able to branch out and have a public forum. So if you do have anything that you would like to ask, please don't be afraid, comment, and I promise to respond to every single question as long as I have time. It may take me a day or two. Obviously, we all have personal lives, but I promise to be as responsive as possible and get all these things addressed. And I am very adamant about PowerShell. I'm passionate about doing things in PowerShell, and especially making sure that the IT community as a whole kind of learns what this is capable of, because not many people know, and I've come across people that know 3 or 4 other languages already, and then they find out what PowerShell can do and are impressed and start using what it's capable of. A lot of people say PowerShell is powerful. Personally, I've said that a couple times. I don't like it as much anymore because it seems very cliche now, but it's true. This is a very, very robust scripting language, and especially if you are operating in a Windows environment, whether at home or professionally. So stay tuned for everything that I can bring to your attention. And if you have something that you need help on or clarification and you can't find it out there on the internet, please feel free to ask. I'd love ideas to do videos on if I haven't covered them already, and we'll continue making content for as long as I can. All right, have a good one, and I'll see you soon.